Everybody, come on in quickly, because we got a lot to talk about with this Married at First Sight season 15, Where Are They Now episode. Y'all, what the heck was that? But you know what? Before we get into it, let me do a little bit of housekeeping. Please, 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 on your way in the door, before you take a seat, before you pour yourself a glass of wine or get you a bottle of water, or pour you a glass of orange juice, I don't know. Please don't forget to like this video. Don't forget to subscribe. And along the way, because I'm going to be talking a while, don't forget to drop down the comments and leave some of your comments along the way. I know I don't do lives, but you know what? We can treat our comment section as if y'all comment in the chat, and we can chat that way, because I love reading y'all's comments. But let's get right into this, because I got questions, y'all, and I'm gonna need you to let me know what the answers are to my questions. But one of my questions I'm gonna have during this whole video is gonna be, did I hear Justin correctly? Did he call Alexis's pee thing smelly? When Justin said the reason why he couldn't get an erection was because her pH balance was off, was that him trying to say that her pee thing was smelly and it was a turn off? Lord have mercy, because if that's the truth, I'm telling you. Now, I know I heard that Michelle Obama watches Married at First Sight, and I know Michelle Obama's famous saying is, when they go low, we go high. Well, sorry, Michelle Obama, if you're watching this, I don't think Justin got the memo, because when Alexis went low on him, talking about how he couldn't perform in the bedroom, he went lower. He didn't go high, he went lower. At first, y'all, I was feeling some kind of way that the producers even let that on the show. But then I started thinking back to all the things Alexis has said. And I said, you know what? It was no way that they were going to be able to keep that statement out of the episode, because they let all that other stuff come in from Alexis. They let Alexis spill all that stuff about Justin all season long, talking about his male performance and this and that. So it was no way they could edit Justin, because I thought this was a low blow. But you know what? Hey, I guess all is fair in love and war, because I think I heard him correctly. I think what he was trying to say was that the reason why I didn't get erected during our first opportunity at intercourse, consummating our marriage, was because your pH balance was off. Therefore, it was smelly. It was stanky. It smelled like fish. And it was a turn off. And actually, I didn't hear her disputing it. I didn't hear Alexis disputing it. So I don't know. Maybe it's true. Maybe it's true. I don't know. These two right now are throwing so many daggers at each other. This is like the WWE between these two. And let me tell you, they was going at it with the daggers. Well, that is something. Then the other question I got to know before I even get into all the other parts is Lindy about to pimp Miguel for a new house? This girl comes up with something that must have to happen before she does anything else over and over again. It sounds like healthcare has been taken care of. She can do whatever she wants to do, come whenever she goes, go out whoever she wants, her friends, whatever. She doesn't have to work full time. What else? She doesn't have to change her name all the way to Santiago. She can hyphenate it. She doesn't have to control her emotions. He needs to accept her as she is. And now we can add in, she said she gonna need a house before she pumps out any babies. Woo! Lindy knows how to raise the stakes. She knows how to negotiate with Miguel. Miguel looks like he's trying to toe the line. He's saying, wait a minute, we don't need all that right now. But I don't know. He has fallen forward every other time with Lindy. I'm not for sure This is going to be different. Does Lindy even have a full-time job? Because one of the things Miguel was saying too was, before we get a house, we're going to have to get this money straight. And the way he kept saying it, it sounded like Lindy ain't working full-time. It sounded like Lindy's like, you're going to need to put all the money you saved into the house, because you know Lindy ain't got no money saved. If Lindy doesn't have health care, if Lindy was working part-time, if Lindy was living in a house with 3 other ladies before this show, Lindy does not have any money, and she had all those student loans. Lindy does not have any money saved up for a house, not in no San Diego. Houses in San Diego are anywhere at minimum $800,000 to over $1 million, 20% down. You're talking about $160,000 cash. Lindy does not have anywhere near that in cash because we know she's got a lot of student loans. So Lindy is going house shopping on Miguel's money. This stuff is funny, y'all. All I can do at this point is laugh. I can't scream and yell no longer. All I can do is laugh. And then we got over here. I got my questions I'm going to have queued up for Morgan and Ben. And I'm going to say, didn't Morgan look at these videos that people been doing on her? Didn't she read Twitter? Didn't she look at Instagram? You mean to tell me she decided that on the Where Are They Now, she decided the place she was going to take Ben was to Muay Thai session where she could put him in a headlock between her thighs? Y'all, this is ridiculous. We can't make this stuff up. This is ridiculous. I guess Lindy. I guess Morgan gave us all the middle finger and said, to heck with you people. I'm going to double down on this Muay Thai beating up Ben. And not only am I going to do it in the regular season, now on the Where Are They Now, I'm going to invite him to Muay Thai and I'm going to headlock him between my legs. I could care less if y'all think I'm masculine. Couldn't believe it. And then my last question is going to be for Krysten. Did Krysten just say that maybe she should have given Mitch another chance after the wedding because she was liking what she saw in Mitch? She trying to double back on Mitch. Mitch is done with Krysten. And I really hope after this Where Are They Now, and I'm going to bring it up later as we go along, y'all, because I'm going to be talking for a minute. So like I said, get comfortable. Get comfortable. I'm so glad that Mitch said no to Krysten, because even in this Where Are They Now, I hope y'all saw all of the situations where Krysten had to pump herself up. And if y'all really believe that Mitch was the sole responsibility for her insecurities, that y'all are missing something, because this girl has been insecure long before Mitch. And you see it played out even when Mitch is gone. On this date she goes on, this blind date, we're going to talk about that. And we're going to talk about this so-called, and maybe I should have given Mitch a second chance. You would embarrass yourself again, Krysten, because Mitch would have still said a no to you. And then we're going to have to ask ourselves about a question going to come up about Stacia and Nate. And my question is going to be, what kind of timeline is Stacia on? I really don't understand what the slow versus fast track is. Y'all got married in lightning speed, 2 months on Marriage Day Now, 8 weeks. So is Stacia trying to say that Mitch, is Stacia trying to tell us that Nate is moving too slow because he doesn't want to have a baby within 9 months? This girl. So all of a sudden he's too slow because he's not moving at her lightning speed, and he's the problem, that because everybody ain't 37. And he's like, I'm 34. I don't need to get married and have a baby all in 1 year. And she's trying to say he's a problem because he's moving too slow. Y'all, we got questions. But we're going to go through this episode because I took some notes here like I've been doing. And we're going to talk about it. We are going to talk about it. But it started opening up with Lindy and Miguel putting back on their old wedding dress and putting back on their old tuxedo. And I'm happy they could fit into it because, some people, you get that happy love weight on you and you gain that extra 5 or 10 pounds. And the next thing you know, you might can't get back in that wedding gown or that tuxedo. But kudos to these two that they kept the weight off. They kept that happy weight off, and they was able to get back in that wedding gown, that tuxedo, unless they ain't happy. then that might answer it. Maybe there ain't no real happy weight because maybe it's not as happy as we think. But who knows? They look happy. They looked happy and they sounded happy. But if you read between the lines, Miguel was like, I'm outside of my comfort zone looking for this house where they went house hunting. He said a house hunting is going to have to come with some money along with that house hunting. And it sounded like what he was trying to say was, Lindy, what you going to put up? Because I don't think Lindy's putting up no money, y'all. What do you think? Do you think Lindy, that's my question. Do y'all think Lindy has any money to put up on this house? Because remember, Lindy didn't have no health care. She had a lot of student loan debt. She was living in a place with three or four other women. When they got married, she moved out of that place right away. That's why she was homeless from the beginning. Okay. Do you think Lindy got any money working part-time as a physical therapist? As she said, she works 3 months and then she takes 4 months off. You think she got any money for a down payment when interest rates is darn near 8%? They ain't getting no house. This was all for show. They are not getting no house in no San Diego market with no interest rates at 8%. It ain't gonna happen. Not right now. It's not. Not unless Lindy got a pocket full of money stashed somewhere that we don't know about. Ain't gonna happen. Lindy said, we need a house for all these kids I'm end up having. So once again, Lindy says, I'm not gonna make a move until you do something, Miguel. So now what she's done is she's made a criteria to have the kids to have the house. Not just a bigger apartment, not rent a house, okay? Buy a house. So she wasn't talking about moving out of Miguel's small, maybe 1-bedroom apartment and moving into a larger apartment before they have a child. She wasn't even talking about maybe we move out of this rental apartment into a rental house. She said, no, she gonna need a house bought before you get to fertilize her eggs. Well, I told you Lindy was a PIMP. She is a PIMP. She need to hold a school. She need to hold a class because she might be out here teaching a lot of women how do you manipulate your man into these situations. Because Lindy's about to get a setup of a life where next thing you know, she gonna be a stay-at-home mom, y'all. I'm telling you right now, she's working to be a stay-at-home mom. And listen, I don't really have any problems with where Lindy is trying to go, but to me, I just like the more forward approach. Just tell me what you want to do, not this sort of manipulation on the back end. It was kind of what Noe did last year when I was reading her, and I said, you know what, Noe just really wants to be a stay-at-home mom. This is why she was having problems with Steve's vagabond work life, because what she was saying was that's not going to be enough for me to be a stay-at-home mom. And what she really just said was, I want to be a stay-at-home mom. And I'm telling you, Lindy too wants to be a stay-at-home mom. And instead of just coming out and saying that, she keeps dangling these little carrots in front of Miguel and then coming up with a whole list of things he needs to do in order to get what he wants. It really is sort of a form of manipulation. I don't like it. I really don't like it. And then they start going to this little lunch date that Alexis had with Krysten. And I said, same old Krysten. So Krysten, as I've told y'all, loves to be praised. She loves to be the center of attention. She loves to be hyped up by other people. And unless that's going on, Krysten feels inadequate. Unless there is a sign, a banner that says, yay, Krysten, you're the best. You're the beautiful. Krysten doesn't like the situation. So on this little lunch date with Alexis, did y'all see how Krysten had to pull up all the DMs of men coming at her, and she had to read all these DMs about what these men were saying? Oh, you're so wonderful. Oh, you deserve better. I mean, it was ad nauseum. It was really, really ridiculous. But it's Krysten. And I told y'all before that Krysten needs so much praise. And now that she doesn't have Mitch around to blame for her insecurities, she's resorted to DMs from various people out here, dropping in her DMs, puffing her up, and now she wants to read them aloud on a national TV so that she can be puffed up in front of millions of people. I don't like it. It actually got to the point where it became a little bit irritating for me with Krysten. This little duo between Krysten and Alexis, all episode long, the two of them puffing themselves up, trying to make it pretend like they're such hot commodities out here. I got tired of looking at it, y'all. I got tired of looking at the Krysten and Alexis show of puffing the two of them up and how they're such a hot commodity. And I was just like, done with it. So Krysten says she moving to the NYC, New York City. She said it doesn't really matter where she is. She knows she can find a man. She can date no matter where she is. It's all about your attitude and your perspective. So she's moving to DC. I guess her parents are from the East Coast. I didn't know that. She's going to be closer to her family. Okay, love that. New York's a tough dating market, Krysten. New York is a very tough dating market. Ask the women out there. But Krysten I guess Kristen's going to be okay. And she says she's not scared, not one bit. And Alexis says she's going to visit Krysten in New York City. This is not no goodbye. This is just until see you later on. This is really the only real friendship I think has really come out of this Married at First Sight is maybe Krysten and Alexis. And the only reason they're friends is because they're each other's hype woman. They need somebody around them all the time to hype each other up. Krysten runs around calling Alexis her queen. Hey, queen. Hey, queen. And Alexis calls Krysten, hey, beautiful. Hey, beautiful. They need each other because they need constant hype 24/7. That's probably why they talk to each other 2 and 3 times a day. Other than that, there ain't no real friendships between any of these women on this show. Like I said last time in my video, none of these people are friends. And you find out everybody hates Justin. Nobody's friends with Justin. Justin doesn't like anyone. A lot of the men don't even hang around each other. The only 2 people I think even see each other maybe Nate and Ben. Other than that, like I said, a fake, phony friendships. And Justin said it correct. There's a whole lot of fakeness going up in here when they had that retreat later on in the episode. Just like I said, fakeness and phoniness. None of these people like each other. None of these people are friends. Like I said, the only 2 I think could be friends, or I believe are friends, are the hype women team, which is Alexis and Krysten. Other than that, ain't no real friendships. These folks ain't even gonna talk to each other after this. Where are they now? They're gonna, when you say, oh, where are they now? They're gonna be like, I don't care. They answer the where are they now question gonna be, I could care less. I don't like them people. But then Krysten now she gonna have this going away party. They trying to figure out who they gonna invite. Of course, Alexis doesn't want to invite her ex-husband. Are they officially divorced yet? Probably not. Is the divorce official? But who knows? Maybe it is. But you know she don't want to invite her ex-husband Justin, because Justin is on a revenge. What do you call it? A revenge tour. They talk about revenge body. How women go back and they get their revenge body after they break up. Justin is on a revenge tour, and he says, I'm taking all you people out. And the head person he's going to take out in this episode is going to be Alexis. He said, I'm coming for your neck, Alexis. After all the damage you did all season long, and now I've gotten to see all of what you've done, I'm having no mercy on you or your out of balance, pH balance of a JJ. Woo, that was funny. That was funny, y'all. And then you see that Stacia has dyed her hair, and she says, you know what happens when a woman dyes her hair? That means she's going through something. And she done kicked Nate out the house. So good thing Nate kept his studio apartment, because just as he predicted that what happens on the day you tell me to get out, guess what? It happened. And good thing he had his studio apartment. And she even said that when she was at his studio apartment, he kicked her out of there too. These 2 is kicking each other out these apartments. And I really don't know what the problem is. It seems like when Stacia was talking to her mother, she seems to be putting down Nate, saying that Nate is moving at a snail's pace, and that why would you want to move at a snail's pace if you signed up for Married at First Sight? Well, here's my question. If I signed up for Married at First Sight, I'm willing to know that the marriage is going to go at a fast pace, which Nate did. But that doesn't mean I signed up to do all the other things in life at a fast pace. Stacia acts like if you signed up for Married at First Sight, that means you want to do everything else that's associated with marriage also at a fast pace. She act like it's all inclusive. So you signed up for the marriage at a fast pace. That must mean you want to fall in love at a fast pace. You want to have kids at a fast pace. You want to build a life at a fast pace. You want to build a marriage at a fast pace. Everything else needs to be done at a fast pace. And because you don't want to do all those other things at a fast pace, you got married for the wrong reasons. This girl's logic is horrible, because really what Stasia's logic is about what she wants to do. Is what she wants to do. She keeps talking about Nate is moving at a snail's pace, but what Stasia's really doing is she's moving at a super fast pace as if she's closing a real estate deal. I told you that before. Many ways, Stacia is telling Nate that his feelings are not involved and that he's holding back, basically accusing Nate of not having the emotion to go in the marriage. But when you look at what Stacia's doing, she's actually really following a game plan. So she came in with a game plan, an itinerary, right? At what pace? Goals. She had goals. You know how you guys have goals and you have benchmarks? This is what I want to do at 30. This is what I want to do at 35, 37, 39. So now what Stacia's done is she's taken her marriage to Nate and she's looking at her goals and her benchmarks and she's telling Nate, you're behind. You're not progressing like it's a progress report at work at the same pace. Well, guess what, Stacia? That's like treating the marriage like a business. That's not feeling an emotion because you're not even going off of whether or not you're ready for kids, whether or not your emotions are ready. You're just going off of this pace because it's benchmarks that you have set. So in one way, she's accusing Nate of not having any emotion in the marriage, but her pace that she's going at, her benchmark, her goals, they're not set off of emotions either. They're set off of predetermined benchmarks and timelines that she set prior to even knowing Nate. She set these benchmarks prior to even knowing Nate, and she hasn't adjusted the benchmarks for Nate. She said, these were my benchmarks before. These are the ones I want to hit. And Nate, you are a plug into this marriage. And so therefore you need to get with my program. That ain't no feeling and emotion, y'all. That's just fitting Nate in to what her game plan was before. So the very thing she's accusing Nate of, the truth of the matter is she's doing the exact same thing, but she's flipping it on him to say he's not moving at a better pace because his emotions aren't evolving fast enough. But really what she's doing is she's not reacting off emotion. She's reacting off of a game plan she had prior to getting married. So that's why I think this whole argument they have is useless. It's ridiculous. It really is ridiculous. And a lot of it points back to what I believe, and a lot of other people have been saying, and even Nate has said it in this episode, that Stacia has low self-esteem. And so what Stacia does is she sets benchmarks so that when you hit these benchmarks and you do those certain things, she believes it makes her feel more secure in the relationship. But because she has a deficit of self-esteem, even when you hit those benchmarks, it doesn't fill her up. She's almost like a cup with a hole in the bottom. She really is like Lindy, because what Lindy does is the more that Miguel gives Lindy, Lindy comes up with something else he needs to do in order to make her happy. Stacia does the same thing. The more that Nate does to make her feel happy, the more he needs to do because she realizes she didn't get the fulfillment she wanted on the last thing. Now she needs more and more and more and more. And it becomes insatiable and it makes it very difficult to accommodate her and keep up with her. And what you start to find out is I'm just moving at her pace, even though it's not what I want and what's best for me. So in order to keep her happy, I have to fully commit to her timeline, her schedule, her everything. Because she keeps saying, well, I waited for him. I spent 2 weeks in his apartment. 2 weeks? How is that waiting for someone because you spent 2 weeks in someone's apartment? You just got married at lightning speed in 8 weeks. There is no way you should want to have a baby in 1 year. Even people who have been dating and going together and engaged for a year or 2 years typically don't want to have a child in the first year. Stacia has decided she wants to meet a man, learn a man, get married, and have a kid in the first year of marriage. But she's not the problem. Nate's the problem. Okay, girl. Okay, Stacia. Stacia really needs, if Nate and Stacia don't make it, well, who Stacia needs to go and meet, she probably needs to go and meet a man who's probably around, I would say, around 45 years old. A man that's 45 years old that has never been married, who worked his whole life. Maybe he focused on his career. Maybe he's now a high earner and he focused on his career and he never got married and maybe he didn't have any kids. And now he's 45 years old and he still wants a family. He can have kids at 45. He would love to be with a woman like Stacia, who's much younger, 37. And that guy, who's now 45, 46, He probably could move at that lightning speed in a year and get married and have kids. He probably could. But that's because he's 45 and he's done all the things that Nate hasn't done yet. She could get that lightning speed out of a man who's about 45 years old, who would love to be with a 37-year-old woman, who would marry her and get her pregnant all within a year. She absolutely should get that. But she's asking that from a 34-year-old man, and that is the problem. Stacia thinks that she had a lot of advantages with Nate because she was making more money when she was 37. But if you guys remember my earlier videos, I told you Nate has the upper hand with age because he has time and Stacia doesn't have as much time. And I knew that time that Nate had was going to be worth more than that $450,000 a year job that Stacia had, because your money cannot buy you time on some of those things. Now, she could freeze her eggs. She could do all those things. We know that. She could pay money to do that. But she also doesn't want to have kids at 40. She really doesn't want them younger. So now here you have the problem that she's got all the money. She's got all the resources. But guess what? Nate still holds a lot of the cards because he's got 34-year-old sperm. If they don't make it and they're really going through a rough patch, I hope they do make it. But if they don't make it, Stacia's next move is going to need to be to find her a man that's around 45 or 46 years old, who isn't married, never been married, who worked in his career, built a really good career, now makes a nice salary, and is now ready to build a family with a younger woman, and that younger woman can be Stacia. That's going to be her ticket. That's a free tip to you, Stacia, if you're out there listening to me. That's a free tip. But I hope her and Nate make it, because I think Nate really loves and cares about her. But I think Nate is adamant that I don't want to move at this lightning speed and stop pressuring me. Stop pressuring me. And I don't know if Stacia even knows what it means to let your foot off the gas. I think she's so much pedal to the metal type of girl. Even what she considers slowing down, I think is lightning speed to a lot of people. So even when she's downshifting, I don't know if any of you ever drove a stick shift, even when she wants to run in, fifth gear, and she goes, well, I've already downshifted to gear 3. To a lot of people, her gear 3 feels like gear 5. She really needs to come all the way back down to gear 2 or gear 1, but she doesn't like the feeling of that. She feels stifled, as she told her mother. She feels stuck. So she doesn't want to have to down a shift that low. She's going to have to figure out what she's willing to give up. And I think what she's going to have to be willing to give up is being with a man that's close to her age. She's going to have to give up something. If she wants a person to move that fast, to meet you, marry you, and have a baby in 1 year, she's going to have to give up something in dating. And more than likely, that's either going to be giving up marrying an older man or marrying a man that may already have kids, but also wants additional kids. She's going to have to give up something. She's going to have to figure that out. She's going to have to figure that out, y'all. But then we see that Justin meets Mitch in the park, and you can see they ain't seen each other. I told y'all, what does Mitch and Justin have in common? Nothing. But Justin brings Maya with him. At first, Maya got a muzzle on her. Then later on, I see they took the muzzle off Maya. But Maya's friendly. I don't think I'm telling you, Maya doesn't seem to have any problem with people. She just had a problem with that other dog, Newton. And later on, we see in the episode, Newton loves Justin. Newton loves Justin more than Newton loves Alexis, because Newton was following Justin around that little retreat house, all around that house. All of these dogs, Luna loved Mitch, and Newton loved Justin. Did y'all see that? But Mitch said he had to move out of his little apartment that he was sharing, that little dirty, nasty apartment. I know they kept his security deposit. I know they did. I know when Mitch moved out that apartment, they kept his security deposit, because there was no way that landlord was going to give him his entire security deposit back. I know she probably kept it all. She's probably like, I'm about to throw this stove out. This bathtub going to need to be completely gutted and something done to it, because it's so dirty. I can't even use bleach up in here to clean this. I know she kept that security deposit. Now he said he had to move in with somebody else to split the rent, because San Diego's is high and Mitch want to live near the beach. I know he's splitting some rent now. He said he asked a few women out and they said no. Mitch said he tried to get back there and ask out a few women, and they told him no, I'm not interested. And that was, I don't know if that was after they saw him on Married at First Sight or even before. But I'm telling you, people gonna have a hard time dating out here. It's a good thing. It is a good thing that Krysten is moving to New York City. When she moves to New York City, I would deny I was even Krysten. I said, oh, that was another Krysten. That wasn't me. She better lie. But Mitch is staying in San Diego. When women see this episode of Married at First Sight, he gonna get a lot of no's from a lot of women. But he is improving, y'all. Of all the people on the show, I'm gonna stick to it. And I'm gonna say I believe that Mitch has done more growth than probably anyone else on the show. Now that's also because he had to come a long way. He was so far on the bottom, he had to do a lot. That's true. That is very true. But even with that, I would say that of all the people, he has done the most growth than anyone else, because there's still a lot of people who are stuck right where they started. And some have even gone backwards, like a Morgan. Morgan has not grown one bit, not at all. She hasn't grown at all, none. But just as if they're still telling Mitch, yeah, I think Nate did make a pass at me. Boy, did nobody make no pass at you. Nobody. Why would, even if Nate was gay, he wouldn't be. Why would you be the one he'd hit on? This is so ridiculous. I don't even see why Justin was even trying to stick to that. I'm glad we see later on in the episode, he finally recants that and said, you know what? I shouldn't have said it. It was wrong. I was being malicious. I'm glad he finally spoke up and said something different, because that lie was going nowhere. I know some people out here believe it. I never believed it. It was a low blow, just like Nate said. And it was a low blow, and most people out here wouldn't believe in that story. It just made Justin look even more foolish. It really did. Then it's a little part where, Nate does come over the house to Sasha's house. Did y'all notice that, he didn't have no key to get in the house? I know it was a keypad where you punch in the combination, but I noticed he didn't have no combination. It looked like he had to ring the doorbell, and Stacia had to let him in. So you mean tell me he's been gone for 2 days and she already changed the door code? Can you believe she changed the door code already? And when he was telling her what happens when I'm homeless, and she was like, oh, you never have to worry about that. Or you never have to worry about that. So not only did she kick him out the house, within 2 days, she changed that doggone door code. Probably when Nate left that same day when she kicked him out, she probably was on her app. This doggone code, let me change this code. She was changing it right away. This is so sad. So he don't even have no key to get in the house. Sasha cold, y'all. Stacia is cold. And then they went to this scene with Morgan and Ben. I was just so disgusted by it. Not only was I disgusted by the scene, that this is what they would choose for them to sort of hook back up in the Where Are They Now, but I was disgusted by the language that Morgan was using. The first language she would start using was, I invited Ben to Muay to toughen him up because he needs to be tougher. No. She says, I need Ben to come to Muay because he needs to get tougher. What, to handle women like you? So you mean to tell me that the abuser, who is Morgan was the abuser, the verbal abuser, the emotional abuser. She then calls Ben weak and then says, I'm going to bring him to Muay so that he can toughen up, so he can take more abuse from women like me. Can y'all imagine if this was reversed? Can y'all imagine if this was a man telling a woman that she needed to get tougher? He berated her, abused her emotionally and verbally all season long. And then on the Where's They Now, he told her, I'm going to bring you to kickboxing or some other type of event so you can get tougher, because you need to get tougher to be able to handle abuse by men like me. Horrendous, people. Like I said, not only did Morgan not learn anything, she got worse. Who would have known that you could have not gotten better, you could have gotten worse? Well, there you go. A Morgan got worse. And then when Ben is throwing a few punches on the punching bag, she starts going, ooh, it's alpha season. It's alpha season. I couldn't stand it, y'all. And you know what? Once again, Ben's so nice. He didn't say anything about it, but Ben can't stand Morgan. I just can't believe it. I do not believe that Ben even really likes Morgan. I don't understand how you could sit up there and listen to a woman go, it's alpha season, as if that's some type of award or some type of compliment to you. Then what are you? What are you, Morgan? What are you? Horrendous, people. Horrendous. And then you have Ben up here talking about how he had gone to therapy. He's written letters to his father. He's starting to say he's trying to find his voice. He's trying to do all these things. Did you hear anything more about Morgan with therapy to resolve her issues? Did she write a letter to her own daddy? Because we know she got daddy issues. No. All she did was sit up there and say, that's good because you need to do that. All she did was say, oh, good, because you need to find your voice, because you do need to toughen up. You do need to make better decisions for yourself. Oh, my gosh. Morgan, first I thought I heard she said she was going to Santa Barbara and moving to Santa Barbara. I did hear she said she's going to travel the world and go to Greece and Spain and all these other kind of places. That seems to do what all these people do after Married at First Sight. If you see any of these people after they leave Married at First Sight, they all going to Greece and Spain and Italy. So Morgan says she's going to travel around the world alone. I'm pretty sure she's going to be alone around the world. She needs to spend that money on some therapy because she needs therapy, just like Ben is getting therapy. She want to talk bad about Ben, but let me tell you, if there's a where are they now in another year, Ben is going to have to make some progress. He's going to figure some things about himself. But Morgan, she ain't going to be nowhere. She's going to be right where we left her. Same place, and maybe not even the same place or worse, just like she is now. She worse than when the program ended. Then they had this other scene, little pole dance in the park with Krysten and Alexis and Stacia, and they're gonna learn some pole dancing. And then here's the other point. This is why I want you guys to see all these signs with Krysten where she's got to pump herself up. Everything's competitive. She's always got to be number one. And I don't know if y'all caught it, but when they did that pole dancing, did you hear what Stacia said about herself? I'm not Stacia. Did you hear what Krysten said about herself? Oh, I'm actually surprised at how good I am at the pole dancing. She wasn't good. She wasn't good at all. She was absolutely horrible. She was the worst out of all three ladies. It's the same thing that she said that time when they had karaoke with Mitch. And she said, oh, I'm surprised. Oh, Mitch, you're almost as good at karaoke as I am. When in fact, Mitch was actually better at karaoke than she was. It was the same thing when they did the archery contest. And Mitch was doing pretty good. And Krysten said, oh, you're almost as good as I am in archery. No, he did better at that. Now we have pole dancing. Krysten is so competitive. She always has to be number one. Doesn't matter. Just like at the award show. Remember, she wanted to win Life of the Party. She wanted to win Best Dancer. She wanted to win all these awards. Krysten always has to have a praise team that follows behind her and roots her on and cheers her on and tells her how she wonderful is. And when there's no one there to do that, she does it for herself. So earlier she did it with the DMs. She had to read all the DMs from all the men. Some of them men probably look like frogs, but she don't care. She don't care what they look like. They probably look like frogs, but she read them anyway. And then she had to say, oh, I'm actually way better at this pole dancing than the other ladies. No, you're not, girl. No, you're not. And then Krysten and Alexis go on a double date. A good Lord. Now we need some more fans for these two. These two need constant pumping up, constant attention. And now that they ain't got no husbands to do all the work, they got to run out in the streets right away and go out with some other dates. Okay, got it. Alexis says she needs a man with a big back. Well, we know she does. We know she needs a man with a big back. I hope he okay with the pH imbalance, but okay. She needs a big back man. And Krysten needs a whatever. She just needs a man with a pulse. So they set them up on these 2 dates. They get these two men come out on the dates, and Alexis' eyes are googly eyed over this man sitting next to her, googly eyeing and looking at him. He over here sniffing the wine. I guess he's a wine expert, and we know we know that Alexis likes to take shots. So I could already tell you this is not a good combination. And he says, "Oh, I like what I see." No, he don't. You know why he doesn't? Because he didn't ask her out again afterwards. Because you know that if Alexis went out with this guy and he was really interested in her and asked her out again, she would have told us by the time they were at that retreat. But by the time they got their retreat, she goes, oh, for me, it was just to get myself out there. No, it wasn't. If this man had liked Alexis and really liked what he saw and wanted to take her out, he would have asked for date number 2 on date number 1, because that's the way it works, lady. When a man really likes you, I'm going to tell you what he does. Before date number 1 is even over with, he's already asking you out for date number 2. So I know that this man, Greg, with the big back, the good looking man with the muscles, smelling the wine, did not ask Alexis out on a second date. Not at all. Because you know what? He ain't interested. He ain't interested. And then you got Krysten going out with this other guy who's a lawyer, because that's what she cares about on paper. I told you, Krysten cares about image. The idea that she wants to go out with a man, a lawyer, is about image. I'm dating a man who's an attorney. And then she didn't like his personality. But did you see how Krysten acted on the date the whole time? She acted as if she was orchestrating the whole date. She was interviewing everybody. She was actually organizing all the conversation between Alexis and also the other guy, Greg, and the guy she was dating. This is what I told you when I first saw Krysten with Mitch in the very beginning. I said she acts like she's HR or someone, and she's giving performance reviews constantly on people. Krysten is constantly judging everyone, constantly trying to make people behave and perform in a certain kind of way. I'm telling you, y'all, she gonna have a hard time dating out here because a lot of men aren't gonna put up with the way that Krysten likes to date. Krysten likes things to go a certain kind of way. She likes you to be all in her. And did you see her go right in and talk about how important her looks? I know she was trying to act like she was just kidding. She was serious. She was serious. She needs to know right away, do you think I'm hot? Because that's what I'm going to need. I'm going to need verbal validation constantly. And I just want to know right now, Mr. Lawyer, Mr. Attorney, are you going to be up for the job of giving me constant validation? And that man was like quiet as a mouse. And she could tell right away, oh, he doesn't have enough energy for me. Exactly. What she was saying was, he doesn't show enough enthusiasm in me. He isn't chasing me enough. He isn't going to be my little fan club running behind me. And I'm going to need a different type of man. There you go. That's what she's going to need. And in order to get that, more than likely, Chris is going to have to date a man that makes significantly less money than her, who's going to run around and tell her how fabulous that she is. Okay? Because that's what he's going to prefer about her. That's what she's going to end up having to do. Because let me tell you, no man who's making a whole lot more money than her and got more things going on her is going to be running around up under her, telling her every 2 seconds how beautiful she is. People got other things to do than to keep validating Krysten every 30 seconds. Why don't she get some type of app that does that for her? Something needs to be automated for Krysten because she needs a lot of validation, y'all. Way too much. Krysten's dating style is horrible. I don't know if y'all watched that date or really looked at it. That was a horrible date. None of the men enjoyed that date. I know that man didn't ask her out again. I know he didn't. And I definitely know that Greg guy did not ask Alexis out again. He probably was a paid actor. He ain't asking her out. No. But then they have this moment where Alexis and Justin meet in the park. And he tells her, no, I'm getting this out. You be quiet and you listen. She's like, what? You telling me to shut up? He sure did. He didn't say be quiet. He didn't say hush. He didn't say hold on a minute. He said, shut up because you embarrassed me on national TV. So you didn't tell the whole story of why I couldn't get an erection. And the reason why I couldn't get an erection is because your pH balance was off. You know, the producers had to give him that language. The producers probably said, no, you're not going to be able to say that her pee thing stank. We are not going to let you say that on national TV, that her vajayjay stank and smell like fish. He told her, make sure you tell her that her pH balance was off. Or maybe that was a phrase Alexis came up with. But you know why I know it's true? Because when he said it, Alexis didn't say it. That's not true, Justin. Stop lying. She did not say it all, which tells me it was the truth, that they probably did get intimate. And he said, something smells like fish, and this is a turn off. Y'all, I darn near fell out my chair when I heard that. I said, you mean to tell me Alexis, the hot commodity out here, the shelf that's not the shelf, the product that's on the shelf that everybody's clamoring to get, that's blowing up her DMs. You mean to tell me that she got a pH imbalance? Y'all, this was funny. At first I thought, man, this is a low blow. This got to be embarrassing for Alexis. But then I started thinking about as many times as she embarrassed Justin on television. I said, you know what? Hey, if you're going to throw them punches, you got to be able to willing to take those punches. And let me tell you, Justin threw some heavy punches on this one. Those were some very hard punches Justin threw. But you know what? I couldn't be mad at him because he took some heavy punches all a season long. And the producers let all that stuff air that embarrassed Justin. So I don't see any reason why they had to cut out what Justin said about her. Whether or not it's the truth or not, because let me tell you, Alexis has lied plenty of times on Justin. So whether Justin is lying, whether he's telling the truth, whatever you believe, I thought it was fair game considering all the things that Alexis has said about Justin throughout the season. But when they finally get to this retreat, I mean, Newton was so happy to see Justin. Newton was jumping all over Justin, loving all over Justin. That was the best reception he could get, that he could get coming in the door. And then Mitch and Looney was jumping all over Mitch, and Mitch gave Krysten this beautiful little note saying, you know, how much he appreciated his time. I mean, Mitch was showing some class act throughout this whole season, and actually on the last couple of episodes, I'm telling you, Mitch was really showing some class acts. I think when he was sitting with his brother and his sister-in-law talking about how much growth he has, I believe it. I believe it. I believe it. I think he's going to be a better person in any upcoming relationships that he has, because I think he's learned some very valuable lessons. And then next thing you know, here you got Krysten talking about maybe I should have given him a second chance. Ugh. Krysten gets on my nerves, y'all. I cannot believe that in the beginning of this season, Krysten was one of my favorites, and she has fallen so far down the ladder for me. I'm telling you, in terms of my favorite people on the show, she really has. I really don't like the way she moves and shakes out here, looking for compliments and looking at people who are going to be her praise team. It's irritating. And then after a few little drinks Justin has, he said he'd been drinking a lot. He decided he's gonna go on an apology tour. He said, I'm going on an apology tour, confessions, like Usher's confessions. I'm going on a confessions apology tour, and I'm gonna go around and apologize to everybody except Alexis. And Alexis like, well, he apologized to everyone but me. Good for Justin. What apology does Alexis need? All the damage Alexis needs. Why does she need an apology for Justin? He don't have nothing to apologize for. She got all her licks in on Justin all season long. I don't see why Justin needs to apologize for anything, because Alexis got in enough licks on Justin that should take away any apology she needs. But he did go ahead and he apologized to Krysten and said, you know, I'm sorry for saying you two-faced, or you two different people. She is two different people. One in front of Alexis, one over here. She is two different people. But anyway, he apologized. He apologized to Nate. He apologized to Lindy. He apologized to Stacia. He apologized to everyone. But you know what? He don't care. He don't want to be friends with these people either. It's best that Justin don't be friends with none of these people either. Go on with your life, Justin. Go on with your life. But that's how they ended, y'all. You know, they all hugged it out at the end. Not friends. I know these people ain't friends. We still don't know what's going to happen to Nate and Stacia. I guess we're going to have to troll the IGs to see if they're really still together now. And I'm sure the IGs are going to get released soon. We're going to be able to see, are they really still together? Did they make it? I guess we'll get to see some pictures between Lindy and Miguel, see if they bought that house, see if they're still living together, see what's going on. I don't know. But I'm glad it has finally come to an end, a close. I want to thank all of you guys who have been with me whole season long for Married at First Sight, season 15. And I will see you all next year, 2023, when the Nashville season starts up. But for this episode, don't forget to drop down the comments, say your last little bit of farewells or adios or arrivederci until next season. But let me know what you think about this episode, because there was a lot going on and a lot of it was real funny. So I do want to read y'all's comments and talk to you about it. But talk to y'all later. Bye.